Hello and welcome back to the Growth Vantage Podcast. My name is Garrett Vita and I am your host. Today's topic is a leader's first date. And no, I am not talking about as a leader taking your team members or your colleagues on a date. No, what I'm saying is that as a leader, when you first encounter a new team member, or if you're going to a new organization or a new team member is going into your organization, this is that first meeting that you should have with them once they enter the organization. Super important, but I've seen virtually no organization do it. I've only seen just a few, but when you do it correctly, it can make all the difference in your leadership as well as your team, and especially through the different times. And so when someone usually comes to the organization, whether it's a leader or a new team member on the team, there's usually this mysterious curiosity of who the leader is, how they work, what their intentions, yada, yada, yada. This leader's first date really helps to break that. And it's really a chance for you to get to know them on a personal level, to get to know, set the expectation, to build a relationship, and to build a camaraderie that you want as a culture, and set the culture expectations as well. The important thing about this first instance is that you really have the chance to make the relationship on a professional and a personal level. Many times it's people that have seen have this leader's first date only focus on the business side of things. It's important also to take in consideration the personal side, because no matter what we do in life, we always take our personal side into the workplace, and people do things for a personal reasons. So it's important to really understand them on a personal note rather than just all work, 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 work. One thing that I've noticed too with organizations is that when they don't do this, it makes it harder when difficult times come. Usually when organizations go through difficult times, many times leaders don't have a relationship with their team members, and so when difficult times come, the leader usually tries to build a relationship then with the team members, but it doesn't work that way because the team members feel there's tension already with team members and the leader, and so they're trying to go through a wall essentially. But when a leader sets this expectation up front and builds a relationship up front from the beginning, they're able to know each other and kind of rely on each other because they know exactly what their each intentions are, and they're on the same page. There's a few things that you're going to do in this meeting. One is to build trust, professionally and personally. You want to get to know them personally and professionally and what they want out of the job. And most importantly, you want to see how you can help them, not the other way around. Many times leaders always expect the team members to come to them for everything. But the reason why many don't is because the leader doesn't show the team member how they can help them. I think just find it funny, when leaders try to do this when they have no relationship. It never works because, it shows that the leaders don't really care. By having this first date, it shows that you do care about them, and it makes all the difference. So I'm going to share a few ways how people do it, as well as show with you how I do mine. So many times I've seen leaders, they come to the meeting, it varies per time, depending on how much the leader talks, how much the other person talks, but depending on how much time you have. Doesn't really matter how much time you spend, as long as you spend some time with them. For me personally, I usually spend about 10 to 20 minutes depending on the current circumstance. I know some spend about 10 minutes, some spend longer. But the important part is to really settle time with them so you can sit down and get to know them, with no other disturbances. So many times leaders set the time, 5-10 minutes. They get to know what they want. These expectations of the role of the team member. You should have to show up this day. Do these activities. Blah blah blah. Show up to meetings. Blah blah blah. And that's usually it. Which isn't bad. Set the expectations for the culture as well. What I like to do is I like to get to know them as much as possible and to show them that I really do care about them. Because at the end of the day, we're all humans, and no one really wants to just show up to a job and want just money. And so what my intention is to come into these first dates is to really see what they want outside of money and the job. I've noticed that when people know that you're trying to find that out from them, they open up a lot easier and open up more, because they know, hey, he's not coming just to boss me around. He's not coming just to give me a paycheck or whatever the excuse is. When we really flip the relationship side, it allows us to really get the camaraderie together, to really know that you can depend on each other as a team, and really move through the organization as a team instead of just as individuals. So I'm going to share with you guys how I do mine. I've heard some good compliments about it, and so I do want to share with you because I definitely think it can definitely help you on your journey as well. How I structure mine is, the first couple minutes, I'll set the expectations of, how the meeting's going to go. Hey, my name is Garrett. Thank you so much for your time today. I'm going to spend this next X amount of minutes to get to know each other. I'll share about myself. I'll let them know that we'll be doing an exercise, which I'll be going in a few minutes, as well as, we'll begin to know them. And I'm kind of describing to them what my values are, what my expectations are, that, this whole conversation is kept confidential. And the reason why I do is just to get to know them, because I want what's best for them, and see how we can make the most out of this. And then I usually say, everyone comes to a job, but, if I can help you in some shape or form towards your end goal, that would make me super happy. And I know that they really help you out as well, because I know you don't want to just show up to a job and just want to show up for money. I've noticed that people do want something out of life, and if I can figure that out and help you get to that would make me feel really good that I did my job as a leader. You can say something like that, or however you want to word it, but at the end of the day, you want to let them know up front that you're here for them, and you want to get to know them, and it's not just for business purposes. And I'll also, for the next few minutes, I'll tell them like who I am personally. I've been in this role for blah blah blah. I like to go hiking. I like to go snowboarding. Blah blah blah. So I'll spend about a couple minutes talking about that. The leadership side for work, as well as for the personal side. And then the next thing I tell them is that we're going to do a exercise. The reason why I do this exercise, it really gets to the core of what I was saying earlier, to get to know them personally, as well as what they want outside of the money and the job. And it's nice because it's a fun way for them to get to know themselves more, as well as for me to get to know them personally. And so every time I've done this exercise, everyone has really had to dig deeper within themselves to see what they really want, and has brought them a lot of more awareness of the current why they wanted something. And so I spend on this exercise about usually 5 to 7 minutes. 10 is probably really good, but due to time constraints, I usually don't. And so it's called I want exercise. And so for these 5 to 7 minutes, all I'm going to ask them is, what do you want? And all they're going to reply is, I want, and whatever it is. There's one rule, to the game. You can't repeat yourself twice. So I'm going to ask them, what do you want? And they're going to reply, I want a new house. Then I'm going to ask the question again, what do you want? And they're going to say something different. I want a new car. I'm going to keep doing this for the next 5 to 7 minutes. So initially what happens is that the first couple minutes or so, they talk a lot more superficial things, new car, new clothes, new shoes, whatever it is. But as you get deeper into the conversation, they start to talk about deeper things, such as, I want to make a difference in those around me. I want to be the best person that I can be. Those are the answers that you really want to take note of, because that's really going to help you understand, how you can help them, what you can teach them about, and how you can best position them. And so we do this for about 5 to 7 minutes. And by the end of that time frame, you've had so many answers that can really help you towards helping them at the end of the day. And so one thing I do encourage you is to really use this exercise, or, figure out a different way to get to know them. I also do ask questions at the end, kind of what they want to learn, how do they best learn, and stuff like that. No matter what you try or do, the main point is to really get to know on this first date. Set aside time, about 10, 20 minutes or however long you have, to get to know them personally, what they want, how they best learn, and how you can help them. When you do these things, you will see your relationship soar with them higher, and you can build your culture and improve it easier, more efficiently. Thank you for listening, guys. I'll see you guys next time.